You can tell a man's level instantly by how he reacts when life embarrasses him, not by his watch, not by his suit, and definitely not by how many motivational quotes he reposts while privately arguing with strangers online. Elegant men don't lose control publicly. When someone disrespects them, they don't suddenly transform into emotional philosophers delivering angry TED Talks in the comment section. They stay calm, because real elegance isn't about pretending life doesn't bother you. It's about refusing to let your emotions drive the car, especially when your ego is screaming from the back seat. Think about it. Some men receive one rude text and immediately type a 3-paragraph emotional essay. Suddenly, their thumbs are moving faster than their actual thoughts. Now, they're proofreading anger at 2 a.m. It's a university assignment called Advanced Emotional Damage. Elegant men, no, they pause, they breathe, they adjust their cufflinks, and sometimes, they simply walk away. Not because they're weak, because they understand something most people don't. The man who reacts emotionally becomes easy to control. Calmness is power, silence is discipline, and dignity looks incredibly expensive. In this video, we'll explore why elegant men never react emotionally and how mastering this one habit can instantly elevate your presence, your respect, and your peace of mind. But before we begin, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe to The Elegant Standard, where elegance isn't performance, it's discipline. Now, let's talk about the quiet power of staying calm, especially when life is trying very hard to provoke you. Most men think masculinity means being loud, dominant, aggressive, emotionally explosive. Basically, a human thunderstorm with Wi-Fi access. They think raising their voice makes them powerful, punching walls makes them intimidating, and posting emotional quotes at 1 a.m. somehow makes them deep. Meanwhile, elegant men are sitting quietly in the corner wondering why grown adults are behaving like unpaid actors in a low-budget reality show called Keeping Up with the Emotional Damage. Because elegant men understand something dangerous. The man who reacts emotionally becomes predictable. The moment people know what triggers you, they control you honestly. Some people are unbelievably easy to trigger. You can look at them slightly different. Why? And suddenly, they're delivering a motivational speech fueled entirely by caffeine, ego, and unresolved childhood drama. One rude comment? Now they're typing paragraphs long enough to qualify as historical documents. Someone ignores their message? Suddenly, they're online posting things like, "Real kings move alone. Sir, you were ignored for 14 minutes. Please relax." Elegant men don't do that. They don't fight for attention. They don't perform emotional gymnastics publicly. And they definitely don't lose their dignity trying to win arguments that nobody will remember tomorrow. The worst part about emotional reactions isn't the embarrassment. It's that emotional reactions quietly destroy respect, attraction, and power without people realizing it. People may entertain emotional chaos, but they rarely admire it. Calmness, however, calmness feels expensive. The man who stays composed while everybody else is emotionally collapsing instantly stands out. Not because he's cold, but because he has discipline. And in today's world, discipline is becoming rarer than common sense in a social media comment section, which is exactly why elegant men move differently. Elegant men don't advertise every emotion on their face. You won't see panic. You won't see desperation. You won't see them emotionally melting in public because somebody replied "K" instead of "okay." Because emotional control is social intelligence. Elegant men understand something most people completely ignore. The face reveals the mind. That's why they stay composed, even under pressure, even during disrespect, even when life is testing their patience like a broken customer service hotline. Meanwhile, some people receive one dry text and immediately become FBI investigators. Now, they're zooming into screenshots, analyzing punctuation, calling friends for emotional backup. She used a period instead of an emoji. What does it mean? Brother, it means go outside. Elegant men don't emotionally collapse over small things. They don't aggressively react. They don't publicly spiral. And they definitely don't post mysterious quotes online, hoping one specific person notices. You know, the posts. People change. Energy never lies. Silence speaks volumes. Sir, you posted that from your bathroom at 1:43 a.m. while eating cold leftover rice. Please calm down. Elegant men protect their dignity too much for emotional performances. Because once people can control your emotions, they can control your behavior. And calmness has a strange effect on people. It creates mystery, presence, respect. The man who remains composed while everybody else is emotionally overheating immediately looks more powerful. Not louder, not tougher, more disciplined. And discipline always looks elegant. But here's where things become dangerous. Because most men don't just react emotionally on their faces. They make an even bigger mistake next. One mistake that quietly destroys relationships, respect, and self-control faster than almost anything else. And honestly, most people don't even realize they're doing it. Elegant men pause before responding. Honestly, that tiny habit alone separates emotionally disciplined men from people who react like microwaves with Wi-Fi. Because most people don't think before speaking. They react instantly. One annoying comment, and suddenly they're writing emotional paragraphs at Olympic speed, like their thumbs are competing for a gold medal in unnecessary drama. Elegant men don't do that. They pause. They think before speaking. They don't argue instantly. And when have conversations become emotionally chaotic? Sometimes they simply leave. Not because they're scared, because they understand that emotional people love turning conversations into theatrical performances. You've seen it before. A calm discussion suddenly becomes, "You always do this. You never understand me." Now, somebody pacing around the room breathing aggressively like an unpaid movie villain. Meanwhile, the elegant man is sitting there quietly, wondering how a simple conversation turned into season 5 of Emotional Avengers. Because silence is power when everyone else is performing emotionally. Elegant men know that reacting immediately is dangerous. Anger says things wisdom would never approve. That's why disciplined men slow down before responding. They refuse to let temporary emotions make permanent damage. Meanwhile, emotionally disciplined people treat every disagreement like a courtroom trial. Now, they're bringing evidence from 2019. Remember what you said on April 14th at 6:42 p.m. Goodness gracious. At this point, the relationship needs a historian, not a conversation. Elegant men protect their peace too much for emotional chaos. And here's the interesting part. Calm people naturally intimidate emotional people, because emotional people expect reactions. They expect yelling, defensiveness, explanations. But calmness ruins the performance completely. The moment you stay composed, the emotional chaos loses power. And that level of self-control, it looks incredibly rare in a world where most people react first and think later. Elegant men understand something most people learn far too late. Attention is a trap. Emotionally reactive people are the easiest people in the world to manipulate. Why? Because the moment somebody controls your emotions, they control your behavior. That's why elegant men don't waste their energy fighting every online argument, explaining themselves to strangers, or performing emotional gymnastics for public approval. They know attention is addictive. Some people wake up, open social media, see one opinion they disagree with, and suddenly dedicate the next 4 hours defending themselves like they've been hired by the Ministry of Emotional Affairs. Now, they're typing essays, uploading angry stories, recording voice notes long enough to qualify as podcast episodes. At this point, nobody even knows what the original argument was about anymore. Everybody's just tired. Elegant men don't do that. They don't seek validation from everybody. They don't publicly beg to be understood. And they definitely don't over-explain themselves to people committed to misunderstanding them. Because mature men understand a powerful truth. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every opinion deserves a response. And not every battle deserves your dignity. Meanwhile, some people write paragraphs so long they deserve their own Netflix documentary. Episode 1. She left me on read. Episode 2. The screenshot betrayal. Episode 3. Seen at 9:42 p.m. Please, stand up and drink water. Elegant men stay composed because they know emotional performances attract temporary attention, but calmness earns permanent respect. And honestly, silence frustrates manipulative people more than arguments ever will. Because manipulative people feed on reactions. Drama needs participation to survive. The moment you stop emotionally performing for attention, you become harder to control. But the most powerful trait isn't silence. It's what elegant men choose to protect above everything else. And once you understand this, your entire presence changes. Elegant men protect their dignity like it's a luxury watch passed down for generations. Because they understand something painfully important. Once dignity disappears, elegance disappears with it. That's why elegant men would rather walk away quietly than emotionally destroy themselves, trying to win attention, validation, or closure. They don't beg, they don't chase, and they definitely don't publicly explode because life bruised their ego for 5 minutes. Meanwhile, some people experience one breakup and suddenly begin behaving like emotional pirates, searching the internet for signs your ex still misses you. Now, they're reposting sad quotes, watching relationship tarot readings, checking last seen timestamps like FBI agents investigating national security threats. She viewed my story in for minutes instead of 7. Sir, please return to reality. Elegant men don't humiliate themselves emotionally. If a situation becomes toxic, they leave calmly. If respect disappears, they detach quietly. If somebody wants chaos, they refuse to audition for the role of emotionally unstable supporting actor. Because mature men know this. Not every door needs to be kicked open dramatically. Some doors are meant to close peacefully. Honestly, there's something deeply powerful about a man who can leave without screaming, begging, threatening, or turning social media into a live broadcast of emotional confusion. Because emotional explosions might attract temporary sympathy, but composure earns lasting respect. Real power is remaining composed when chaos expects a reaction. That's rare, especially today, where some people treat emotional self-control like it's an optional software update they forgot to install. Elegant men move differently. They protect their peace, protect their image, protect their self-respect. Because once a man loses dignity publicly, people may still notice him, but they stop admiring him. And elegant men would rather lose attention than lose themselves. Calmness creates presence. Honestly, people underestimate how powerful that is. People trust calm men more, respect calm men more, and secretly fear calm men more. Because calmness feels controlled, intentional, dangerously disciplined. An elegant man doesn't walk into a room screaming for attention like a motivational speaker who just discovered caffeine. He enters quietly, no unnecessary performance, no loud ego, no desperate need to dominate every conversation like he's competing for Employee of the Month in the Department of Insecurity. He simply walks in calm, composed, aware, and somehow everybody notices him anyway. That's presence. Elegant men understand that confidence doesn't need sound effects. That's why they listen more than they talk. They observe more than they react. Their body language stays controlled even when everybody else is emotionally vibrating, like a malfunctioning Bluetooth speaker. Meanwhile, some people cannot survive 30 seconds of silence. The conversation becomes quiet, and suddenly, they're not start oversharing childhood memories nobody requested. Yeah bro, a hamster leaving in 2009 changed me deeply. Sir, we were discussing parking. Elegant men don't force attention. They attract it naturally through self-control. Because noise attracts attention, but control attracts respect. And there's something intimidating about calm people. Not aggressive, intimidating. Not loud, intimidating. Quiet, intimidating. The kind of person who stays relaxed while everybody else is panicking immediately feels more powerful. Why? Because emotional control signals stability. Stability is rare, especially today, where some people treat public emotional breakdowns like Olympic events. Elegant men move differently. Their calmness changes the energy of a room. Their silence carries weight, and their composure speaks before they even open their mouths. Because true presence isn't created by volume, it's created by control. Elegant men aren't emotionless. They still feel disappointed, still feel anger, still feel frustrated. They simply refuse to let emotions make their decisions for them. And honestly, that level of discipline is becoming rare. Because nowadays, emotional reactions are everywhere. One inconvenience and suddenly somebody is punching walls, posting dramatic quotes online, unfollowing 17 people, and listening to sad music like they're starring in a low-budget heartbreak document. The elegant standard return of poor decisions. Anybody can react. Anybody can explode. Anybody can lose composure. That part is easy. Children react emotionally. Mature people react emotionally. Even Wi-Fi routers react emotionally when one person opens too many tabs. But remaining calm when life attacks your ego? That's different. Remaining composed when somebody disrespects you, when plans fail, when relationships disappoint you, when life doesn't go your way, that takes real strength. Because calmness is not weakness, it's control. And elegant men understand that protecting their peace is more valuable than winning temporary emotional battles. That's why they move carefully, speak carefully, and never allow chaos to turn them into somebody they wouldn't respect later. Meanwhile, emotional people destroy their own unity trying to win moments. Nobody ever lasting to the end because of our life is even remember next week. Elegant men think long term, because once self-respect disappears, everything else slowly falls apart with it. And rare behavior always looks elegant. So if this video resonated with you, I'll comment below and tell me, what's one situation where staying calm completely changed the outcome for you? Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe to the Elegant Standard for more timeless lessons on discipline, presence, confidence, and modern elegance. Stay calm, stay sharp, and move differently.